All right, ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, it's that time of month where we all get together and do a virtual tasting. But it's not any usual virtual tasting. This is one of the biggest of the year because this is a very special one. I'm going to bring in our special guests, of course, the man himself. Of course, Krsna is here from BASIK, and Andrew Durbridge, our Director Cellar Master. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're all here. Hello. Can you hear us?
We are
live.
Indeed.
We are live. It worked. The marvels of technology. You have a very dark background there, Krsna.
I know. It's so black, it looks like
Vanta black.
A black screen.
Yeah. We've lost Andrew. Okay.
Oh, no.
He'll be back. I think he's having some tech issues. It's okay. He'll be back. That means you can see the width of our rooms a bit better whilst I'm not being squeezed at the moment. I'm going to press on anyway. I can hear a lot of deep breathing. I have my microphone right in front of me whilst I'm getting everything organized.
So. Is it me potentially?
No, maybe.
Well, look, I mean, if you're a guy with the surname Farmer and you got kind of scrawny teeth, you probably have really bad choice in your microphones as well.
Wow. He's back.
I'm back. Justin.
Sorry, technical issues. There was a Mars bar knocking on the door and I had to tell it to piss off.
But you opened the door to a Snickers bar, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Good man.
Hello, Jared, Justin, Alex, Dave, Dov. Evening, folks from Andrew Durbridge. They even commented to the stream. Look at this. This is great. I'm going to throw that comment up on the screen. That's great.
Inception, indeed.
Inception. There's two of him now. Dream within a dream. Durbs
one's got his thoughts on chat, and the other one's just this, just the movement of him in live feature.
We have a very special virtual to share with you all tonight. Please keep the comments coming through. We are streaming live to our Facebook page and, of course, to YouTube as well. I was saying to a friend of mine just before who was asking, we find YouTube's the better platform for this because Facebook likes to play funny games with the stream sometimes, and it has had some issues. YouTube's always the best for this. It's always the cleanest looking stream as well, I've found. But you can watch it on either. Please keep the comments coming through. We'd love to hear what you think of these pairings as we go tonight. A few quick announcements before we kick off. This is all about our chocolate and whiskey month. This is what this month has been all about, and collaborating again with Krsna. Now, this is 5 years of collaboration. This is our 5th year of working with you.
Indeed.
Very special.
5 years. Happy days. Thank you very much to everyone.
Hey, celebration noises.
Oh, dear Lord, Matt.
No, that was Andrew. That was not me. And it's a very special opportunity for us to collaborate with Krsna again on building these flavor pairings, and he's gone above and beyond again for this year, which we're so excited to taste what he's got in store for us. Even Adam's had a chat with Krsna about how he goes about this process, which you can read about in Outturn. You can see the casks we're tasting. They're in your packs right now. I do encourage you to take them out and get them ready. In fact, you can pre-pour 95.62 sugar-coated mint leaves in the meantime. That's the first one we're going to start with. Before we press on, though, remember, we're still in the August month of showing us your chocolate and whiskey pairings, and that might be one of the pairings you do tonight. That might be a photograph from your setup tonight, enjoying these whiskeys and enjoying these chocolates. Now, you can win one of 3 bottles of 35.326, which is Malt of the Month. It's even better to be able to win a bottle of this because it's sold out. Like, it's gone. This has completely vanished off Outturn. We've tucked 3 aside for those who get the best photos out, but this was a delicious Oloroso 16-year-old whiskey. So I encourage you to get your photos up on socials, tag us on Instagram, or put it up in the Facebook group, however you like to share these things. But in the meantime, we're going to press on, I think. Now, before I get started, I've done this before where I've said this halfway through, like whiskey number 2 or 3. Oh, by the way, we have a shipping code tonight. All 5 of the casks that we're tasting, all 4 whiskeys and 1 rum that we're tasting, are now available on the website. We don't normally get them up this early, but there were 3 of them that weren't even up yet. But all 5 are now. And if you use the code chocolate, that gets you $15 off, which is your shipping fee covered for the night. If I say that too late, then people say, "Oh, I already ordered them. They're already on the website, and I missed out on the shipping." But that's the way it goes. So let's have a smell and taste. We're going to keep the comments coming through. which is great to see. We're not even okay. Ooh,
So I'll let you guys introduce the dram. I suppose we'll keep our.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is 95.62. It's from. It's from. Can I actually? What else? I was about to say this is from the original Singleton distillery. I don't know if I can. I'm not going to say the A word.
Let's put it this way, Matt. So we can't actually say the name of this distillery, but I'm happy to share with you that it's right in the village of Arthrisk. And
what did we say? What did we say like last month or the month before when we said there's a distillery right on the far Ardnamurchan coast that we're tasting? It's right there, yeah, right in the village of Arthrisk. A lot of the whiskey from this distillery for a long time this distillery was actually built for the purposes of J&B, one of the oldest blends out there. And these days mostly goes into bottles that look like this. Of course, that one says the word Dufton on the front of it, but used to look a bit like this. So we can sort of say what is and was and where it is. But we're going to try a bit of 95.62, but I'm really keen to hear, Krsna, what have you done here? What have you created? And where are we starting with this one?
All right, I'm going to start right off the bat with a big punch on flavour. I just have the tasting there. As most of you know, I like doing things in front of you so you know that we haven't sat around and tried to play around in terms of our narration. So talk a little bit about this one. So it's the purple chocolate to go with the purple profile of sugar-coated mint leaves. And so this one's quite fun. It's a caramel, but it's what we did was it's a brown sugar caramel. So there's a little bit more kind of that dark sugar notes that are there, and I suppose that's where I'm going with the sugar-coated mint leaves sort of concept in terms of the name being kind of the play on the flavors. We've roasted a bunch of red apples, Royal Gala, if in case anyone's trying to find out. Sprinkled some more brown sugar on them with little knobs of butter and a little bit of fleur de sol on it, as well as a little sprinkling of a Sri Lankan ginger powder. So it's not high heat in terms of ginger heat, if that makes sense. It's quite low. So it's more moreish. So what we're trying to do is extract out the mint leaves element in here. I'm actually trying to extract out that sugar-coated mint leaves in the dram. If you guys have had the opportunity already to have a nose and that little sip and that taste, you're more than welcome to try that now. Just a little coat on your palate. First thing you'll probably notice is that there's that in terms of the whiskey itself, there's quite a lot of sort of herbaceous and kind of warm sort of wet grass sort of notes. I find that the mint doesn't actually really come through until we do the chocolate. So everyone knows the format. I'll count you all in a 3, 2, 1 format.
I got to ask.
Half the chocolate, and then I'll cue you through the narration as well to do a second half. Okay, and then in between that, I'll get people to.
Did you take half a bite from the top or from the side? But I think you answered that. So
from the side, yeah. Awesome. All right,
lead us in.
We ready?
We're ready.
All right, let's do it. So 3, 2, 1. Pop a half piece into your mouth and bite through. Probably my favorite part is that little thin snap on your shell before you get into that dark brown sugar caramel. There's a sprinkling of ume, so the first thing you're going to get greeted with is a little bit of umami and brown sugar kicking off straight away at the front of your palate. As it starts to move towards the midsection, you'll start to feel a bit of a chili heat, right? It starts to now make you salivate a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more again. And just then you start to get the texture of the apples coating the rest of your palate and that warm, buttery goodness as it starts to become a little bit more sultry, sweet, and moreish. Have the rest of your chocolate, please, and the rest of your whiskey. Watch this transform to being ultimately a change in sugar-coated mint leaves. Green, bright, fruity almost as well. A little bit of acidity from the apple itself and the apple skins. But at the back palate now, as you start to salivate, the mint starts to unfold. Go closer to your glass now and smell that. And all you'll smell is sugar-coated mint leaves. And that's how you end. Let's start strong, people.
That
Let's start strong.
Let's start strong.
I just wanted to preface this to everyone as well. This has been one of our, this has been being the 50th anniversary. I pulled no punches, not only on flavor but also in terms of ingredients that has been used for today. I've picked up some insane things that I probably won't do in a single box ever again. So this is something that I just thought, we're going to go for gold and just absolutely smash the shit out of this. So I can't wait.
Just a great comment from Lachlan Bell, who's saying, this is a bit of a nightmare for those who are colorblind. We'll do it as best we can, Lachlan. It's the top left one on your tasting card. So whatever that, I know that doesn't look like purple to you, maybe, or whatever. I don't know which version of colorblind you are, but this is it's that one there on your tasting card, which is the roasted apple, brown sugar, caramel, ginger, and umami, which is, for me, I don't know which way pack round you're looking at it, but if you match up that one with what you're looking at,
it's got I don't know if this helps, but it's got a bit of blue and red on the color on the as the secondary colors on it, if that helps.
Yeah. That's, by the way, because I just want to start by saying the first, Andrew and I know this, the first whiskey off the rank is always the lame duck in some cases. It's the one where
I think tonight it may not be.
Well, it's not after the chocolate. What I was going to say, I tasted this neat beforehand, before the chocolate. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, it's a very classic whiskey from this distillery. Very Speyside-y, very gentle, not much going on. Nice starter. And then the chocolate just brought it to life. And in that classic 1 + 1 = 3, not only did my palate almost just work in sync with you as you were talking through all the flavors, particularly when you got to the chili bit, I thought, man, that's how you time it's incredible. But then you go back to the whiskey and all of a sudden there's flavor and all sorts of things coming out in the spirit that I wasn't getting prior to that. So
so this
that
one,
magical alchemy of making it stunning.
Yeah, so look, this one I is probably one of the first few sets of packs where I almost finished the entirety of my samples. I usually go through half a little sample bottle, and that's sufficient for me to figure out what I wanted to do. I think about 3 out of 5 of this I had to kind of go back again just to really dig in deeper to figure out what lane I wanted to pick to extract out of in terms of flavors. And admittedly, this is the one that I did try with a little bit of water in the glass. But I think I sat there and I was like, no, I think if we played on the actual mint leaves and just kept it as is, I think that would be, it'll give us the best out of that in terms of that journey. So I'm lucky my instincts paid off for this one, actually, because I was kind of debating which way to go. So yeah,
I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to ask whether you try any of these with water to try and eke out that process.
So usually I will try a single sip without water, and then a little sip at the end out of that 15 mils with just a drop, just to see what changes I might find. And the chocolates boxes. Yes. So if this makes it easier for everyone, all boxes are packed the same. So it might give you an idea. It's literally packed exactly the same in terms of format. And that might give you an idea to give an indication to Lachlan and Rosie which of the, spots they are, if that helps as well.
Being well acquainted with Lachlan, I strongly suspect he's just taking the piss, and this is not a serious.
Yeah. I saw one of the comments there about speaking slower. So
yeah, well,
thanks, Lachlan.
High likelihood of taking the piss. Yeah. But still, for anyone else who's colorblind or not taking the piss, I think we've done as close as we can on picking on.
We're really sensitive individuals here, the three of us. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if Lockie's ever told me that he's colorblind, in which case
I was racking my brain to remember. So.
Okay. Great comment from David Gilks here. Lovely combination. Loving the apple and caramel. Definitely get the menthol coming through to give a strong and refreshing finish. agree with AD that the chocolate improved the dram a lot. It really did. And I picked this one out as part of the lineup really because it's like, it's first of all, we haven't seen many 95s through. And I love a bit of a challenge, and I love the spicy and sweet flavor profile. So I was like, see how you go with this. You know, it had such lovely notes about the mint leaves, the menthol vapor, the cinnamon, all that stuff, which just I knew you'd be able to work something out with. That was great.
Yeah. Look, I was that little kind of sweet spice note is kind of there, and I was debating whether or not to go with sort of like that apple bake sort of crumble kind of traditional style with it, but I thought it needs I really kind of wanted to play again along the name and the literal sense of the name, and I think that was really quite there, especially at the end. So glad that was the lane that we picked. So it was good fun. Thank you.
I'm just impressed you had a choice of lanes in the first place.
All right. I've got a little bit of that dram left. I'm going to park that aside whilst we move on to number 2, which I believe is Marmalade Overdrive.
This is exciting.
So I'll pop that up on screen now.
So is this, just out of curiosity, is this the first SMWS blend?
Release? No, far from it.
Oh, okay.
We've had a lot over the years. There's normally sort of, well, a lot. I mean, like, 1 or 2 a year, sort of, for the last sort of 10 years. Which, but yeah, they're heresy releases. They're experiments. Ewan gets to play with, and work things out with. But the reason why we picked this one is because it has a cool story that it was actually little old SMWS Australia that helped supply the casks that help build this release.
I saw that.
Which is fantastic. So this is a combination of using ex-bourbon casks from the US and, of course, ex-Australian Shiraz casks for the extra maturation of this whiskey, which is a blended malt. So it's so as opposed to a blended whiskey using grain, this is entirely malt whiskies. So a combination of single malts, if you like, and then bottled at 50% ABV, natural cask strength. Where was I? Here we go. So we'll go with Marmalade Overdrive. Now, for everyone playing along, this is the bright red / emerald green chocolate. So where's that one? I'm going to hold that one up. Here we go. I think that's that one. Yeah.
Anyone see that?
Yeah, I got it. It's not the one. It's not the reddish one with the white spots. It's the reddish one with the, sort of the emerald, the very dark green spots on the top. Excellent. Actually, this one, here we go. This one looks even better.
Strawberry wine jelly and dark milk mousse, yeah?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you a little bit about this one. So this is a lot of fun. And one of those bonbons that I probably won't do again because it's one of those spare no expenses in terms of flavors. So I don't know what's everyone's wine knowledge like, but we picked out a Châteauneuf-du-Pape, an entire bottle of this into the wine jelly. It's this was the Chateau Le Neuf, which has got quite a lot of heritage and a lot of great reviews out of the small variety of producers in that region for Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And for those who don't know, Châteauneuf-du-Pape is a blend of 3 different types of grapes. Of course, with this, I wanted to play on the idea of an amazing blend with the idea of the Shiraz cask that was used inside that Marmalade Overdrive, which is generally the primary type of grape grape variety that's used in the blend of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. The shell on the outside of this is quite unique. This the shell is a blend, an in-house blend that we did of our usual dark chocolate and our usual milk chocolate that we use. So it's about, I'd say, 15% of dark chocolate that's been added to the base of our milk in order to give it a little bit more of a nuance. And all that does is just to kind of hero a little bit more of the red fruit. So, I mean, if you had the chance to already nose and sip your whiskey, if you haven't already done so, please do so now. The strawberries are kind of like the hero in this, but this is us coming down after that big punch in the face at the start. So we're gonna let the whiskey and the chocolate do its thing and just kind of have a really nice, wholesome moment together. Aww. So without further ado, please take a sip of your whiskey if you haven't already done so. And in 3, 2, 1. Sorry, there you go. I just realized my fingers were too high. Please pop that piece into your mouth and bite through. First thing you're going to be greeted with, of course, is that real berry-esque strawberries and that little bit of creaminess lingering around the background. But the strawberries, if you notice, it's quite almost like Eka sort of strawberry ice cream. It's got more an ice cream sort of feel and that ice cream sort of note. As it starts to change, a little bit of that salt starts to appear in the midsection of your palate as you start to salt. Now's the best time to take a bigger sip and finish the rest of your chocolate, please. And you'll now notice that it's going to change into what is the ganache part, which is a mousse-like ganache where we've used an alkalized cocoa powder in order to kind of change that acidity itself at the back. And now you've noticed you're in Black Forest territory. It's a fresh cake. It's gâteau-like. It's moussey. It's rich. It's intense. But almost all of that fruitiness is almost non-existent. And then just at the end, it starts to reappear slowly. A little bit of fruit in the front of the palate as all that dark chocolate starts to vanish. A little bit of that sweetness just lingering behind. Quite syrupy in nature as well. So it just gives you that chance to just really shine. But yeah, I really wanted to do something fun, so I'm glad I got to do this too. Thank you.
Oh, that's insane as well. There's a lot of subtleties in that one.
Yeah,
like really like the wine gums and the sort of like the chocolate mousse notes, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, so I think there's a big misconception that with blended whiskeys lack nuance or lacks further detail. I think that is down to the spirit makers and the master blenders itself, right? And great blends even until today, even the ones that we're familiar with, there are some amazing gems, and this has that opportunity for us to actually kind of really dig deep through the whiskey and kind of yank out what's kind of like hidden underneath, I think. And it's a lot of fun.
Wow. And I think another
thing the tannins, exactly, Corbin. I really think so. That wine tannin at the end is really, really awesome.
What I think is commendable here also is that you weren't influenced by the name of the whiskey. Like you see the color of the label, you see the name Marmalade. It probably would have been tempting to start your thinking in citrus territory, but you didn't go down that route at all.
Well, if you might remember, we actually had ready-made marmalade, right, as one of our old options. Yeah. And for that one, we also went with something that was quite rich and fruity. I mean, a marmalade at the end of the day is you can use any fruit. It doesn't need to be citrus, right? It's more about the composition of marmalade, right? So I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I went with something where you've got a bit of fresh fruit that's been, slowly broken down with that wine, and, with the jelly itself, like it when I say jelly, it's obviously me using that as a term, but it's actually just a gel, right? So what we do is, I'm not sure if anyone's actually, the both of you are quite well traveled and you've been to the UK recently as well, so this might be fresh. So in Europe and in the UK, there's a lot of access to the old school pâte de fruits, the little French lollies, so, and because over there they go nuts for it, but over here in Australia, for some reason, people aren't a big fan of pâte de fruits because you're paying $4 for a little a little jelly that's coated in sugar, and you go, well, I can get some Sour Patch Worms or some snakes, and I'm set, right? So the culture is quite different. Whereas in Europe and a lot of parts of Europe, including the UK, because of the access to amazing fresh fruits, especially things like strawberries and lots of other berries, blueberries, blackberries, and it's so readily and accessible. Pâte de fruits is such a big thing, and having these little sort of nuances are like kind of part of like the creative process around confectionery and other confectioners and chocolatiers, to have that as an offering. So this is essentially that, but it's just broken down and macerated in order to lose its like setting structure, if that makes sense. So it'll still have the same composition, it'll still have the same of everything, but it's just broken down in order for you to have like a smoother sort of mouthfeel, if that makes sense. But it'll still be reminiscent, and that's where we'd rely on the whiskey to do the rest. Yeah.
Another great comment from David. Great chocolate. That dark wine / berry jelly thing is so good, and then the Black Forest cake vibe is delicious. And also a great comment earlier from Corbin, said that Chocky absolutely torpedoes the tannins until right at the end of the palate, which is a great call.
I actually really identified with that comment from Dan that you put up, like the best mud cake with ripe strawberries and cream. That was all the above.
Thank you. I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. Awesome.
Yeah,
let's do it. Yeah. Number 3.
Let's do it. Let's go on to number 3. So where are we up to? Let's have a look. Now, number 3, I just want to provide a bit of context here. Came about because I put a post up on the group saying, Krsna needs your help. Like we need to pick out. It was a member selected cask. This one, so we put a few casks up and said, "Come on, which one do you want to see him work his magic with?" And it was actually this one that won the predictably in some ways won the challenge. A 16-year-old deep rich and dried fruits whiskey, of course, and this is a 44.158. It's all about the journey. I love the nose on this whiskey, and I've not paired it yet I've not paired it yet with what Krsna's created, but I'm extremely excited to. So I'll just pop this up on screen about the pairing, and it is the third one in your little menu. This one here, so the slightly sort of orangey, light red one that we're going to start with. I think. Am I getting that right? Yeah.
Yeah, the nose on this whiskey is extraordinary. It's that obviously the sherry influence is coming through, but it's underpinned by that sulfury meaty note you get from this distillery, and the two have just worked. And that's not always a good pairing, by the way.
It's not. It's often it's that whole sort of heavy spirit and heavy cask.
It can be a landmine that explodes on you, but this has actually worked really well. To be fair, Matt, I'm guessing that's really because it's just a finish, and I didn't spend all 16 years in the sherry.
Yeah, from memory though, it's not just your usual sort of finish. I think it's a 12+4 this cask.
Right.
So it's a pretty substantial finish, which is great to see. But yeah, I think if it was all 16 years in sherry, it might be a bit over the top.
Oh, look, I've had lots of sherried casks and whiskies from this distillery that spent their full maturation in sherry, and I'm convinced it's actually not. It rarely seems to work.
We will not say the name of the distillery. We will not say it.
It's a favourite distillery by my best mate Craig.
And Lockie? Or is it Lockie's as well? Craig and Lockie.
Yeah.
What are the odds, Craig and Lockie?
Well done.
And turns out Lockie's colourblind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So you got to speak slowly, Matt. Don't forget.
Speak slowly.
I know someone who literally named their two boys Mac and Alan after Macallan.
Oh, wow. Dear, oh dear, dear.
Dear Lord.
Call Child Protective Services immediately.
All
right, here we go.
Imagine being the poor son called Farkless.
Of course, you had to bring up your favorite.
I didn't mention my mate Glenn, so that's fine. Don't worry.
No, I didn't. Yeah, we're not talking about Glenn here. It's okay.
Hey, so this one was a lot of fun. This is one of those wild experiments that we get to do. I think in the past I've had the opportunity to introduce you all to some covertures, and we've had some very exciting covertures to have in the years to get through. Excuse me. So this one, as you all might know, on your little ingredients cards, it says a croissant couverture. It 100% is made with some amazing croissants out of a bakery just on the Story Bridge, or just by the Story Bridge, sorry, called Krsna Rajalingam. I did a vote a couple of months ago, maybe even, I think earlier in the year, where I did a croissant couverture with a completely different style and a different sort of rendition. And that croissant couverture, I got everyone in. I just put it out there and I said, "Hey, best, name your best place to get a croissant in Brisbane, just a plain croissant." And I had all these, people. That's the first time I had people DMing me just to tell me that someone else's vote was wrong, fundamentally, because apparently people in Brisbane are extremely cultured and know a lot about croissants. And so it's that's not a dig, by the way. That's genuinely, I feel like there's a lot of heart in there, and people get really excited about where to get their favorite croissant. So we got them from Krsna Rajalingam. They're amazing. Probably the most perfect balance in terms of a croissant as well. And so we went through the same methods. We sliced them up, dehydrated them. It takes about roughly 36 hours to dehydrate properly. Otherwise it won't refine properly. We've made that into a couverture. So if you want, just for the time period without eating your chocolate, you can kind of turn it upside down and you can see the natural color of what that croissant couverture actually looks like. It's got that kind of like light sort of caramelly sort of tone to it. And then so this one, as per the name and as per the vote from everyone, it's all about the journey. And for those of you that don't know, Matt actually sends me the panelist notes of all the whiskies whenever I get the samples. I'm usually not influenced by them, and I try to avoid reading them until towards the end. This is one of those moments where I do enjoy whiskey from this distillery. I've had the opportunity of trying some of their older releases and some of the different expressions, and it is quite fun for a Speyside dram. And the funkiness in this was something that I was like, where do we go with something like this? And so I read the panelist notes, and I don't know if do you remember the panelist notes, Matt, for this one?
I do. They're in front of me.
Okay, yeah. So if you read the first line, it says, picture a mechanic in his overalls with a little bit of oil, oily overalls, and eating a croissant and having a little espresso. So I took that on the literal sense, and I figured, let's have our own journey today with this bonbon and see where we go. So the top layer of this is got a little bit of an espresso reduction. It's probably already kind of meshed together with the ganache over the week that I send it to you. In the middle is a milk chocolate and coffee ganache. And then the bottom is a croissant and almond gianduja. So it's got more of the croissant couverture in there to kind of like bolster this up. So this is going to be where we've got a really complex dram that we're going to try and simplify. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1. Pop half that piece into your mouth and bite through. So first thing you're going to get, of course, is this real soft almond cream. And then it starts to change and gets a little bit sweeter now as we go into almond croissant territory. And now the pastry moment starts to really change. And it's like a smorgasbord of pastries that has just now suddenly hit you full front. Pain au chocolat, almond croissant, a little bit of coffee walnut scroll sitting in the background. A little bit of that dirtiness in the spirit starts to kind of linger as you get a little bit of that caramel-esque sugars kind of developing in the back. Take a little bit bigger sip of your whiskey, please, and have the rest of your chocolate. This is arguably my favorite part because the texture starts to change. There's a little bit more of a chew and a darker chew, just like the whiskey does. And it starts to change to becoming more chocolatey as well in nature and richer. But now in between, there's a little bit of that coffee lingering at the front, that bitterness from the espresso just sort of creeps in just so lightly, and then it just kind of tames itself down as it finishes on this kind of sweet fruit and richer note from the whiskey itself. On the nose itself, there's that dirtiness of that oily, greasy kind of mechanical fluid note. On the palate as well is just that complete opposite of what you're actually meant to be tasting as well. But yes, a journey for the ages, I think, this one. Thank you.
Wow. That's phenomenal. And as you were saying it, things like the almond croissant, the slight bitterness from the black coffee, that one for me was the whiskey changing the chocolate. Whereas the first one we tasted felt like it was the chocolate changing the whiskey.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like that one felt like
that perfectly one makes sense.
Because the chocolate was very different from the second taste after I'd had a sip of that whiskey.
Yeah.
Just whilst we're in between here, question from Dan Godden. Just as a reminder, what is a curvature?
Yeah, of course. So just to rehash and keep it really simple. So think of white chocolate. So all the types of chocolates that I use are chocolate curvature. So what that means is that there's cocoa butter inside them, and there's no other additive type ingredients or other types of fats. It's a legal definition in terms of Europe and on a global standard. It's the highest grade of chocolate you can possibly get, in theory. Of course, there are cheaper couvertures, and there's also more expensive couvertures. So the idea of this is that the word couverture is actually a refinement process. So when you're creating white chocolate, you've got cocoa butter, sugar, and a dry mass, and that dry mass is a milk powder of usual sense. Hence why it's got that pale sort of off creamy sort of white color. It's like almost like got a yellow tinge to it. When you make a couverture yourself, you can't quite call it a chocolate because essentially, from a legal definition, it's got all the properties of a chocolate. It's still got the same snap. It's still got the same shine as you saw on the outside of your bonbons, and it's still got the same textures as chocolate. But instead of milk powder being the dry mass in there, we've used that dehydrated croissants itself to give you like a direct. So to me, couverture is like a direct highway to the exact ingredient that you've chosen to use as your nominated sort of flavor. Hence the reason for that real intense profile of that pastry element before it starts to transform into, what your mind is familiar with, i.e. almond croissant, pain au chocolat, coffee scroll, that sort of type thing, and the changes that starts to unfold. Just so you know, because this one we're doing 5 flavors for this night. We've got a second couverture towards the end, and it's the one that Matt and I have been thinking about doing for a while. So we finally had the opportunity to do it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah.
So are you recommending if people keep a little bit of that sample aside if they can?
Yes, absolutely. So keep a little bit of that sample aside. As you all might know, I put a little note inside every box that was sent out. There was a little note there to thank you all, current participants and even previous years, for all your support over the 5 years. There's a lot of SMWS members that are part of the BASIK Chocolates family over the 5 years and have been amazing fans and extremely loyal towards our support and our growth as well for BASIK. And for that, of course, I owe a lot of that to the two of you and the team and Susie and as well. And so I want to thank you all for being a part of that journey. So for this, there's a little extra bonbon, which is the black piece inside, which is a chestnut. Yep. So it's chestnuts that we've gotten a chestnut puree from France. And we've added some freeze-dried coffee from a local producer. So similar to like instant coffee methods, but this is from a local coffee roaster in Brisbane. And I just wanted to use that as my little thank you. So that's just for you to have an extra opportunity in your own time to have with It's All About the Journey. So call it like a malternative.
Alternative, yes.
Yeah, that's
Mate,
it.
That last chocolate was so frigging sexy that my net nanny,
it
my
is,
net
isn't
nanny
it?
porn blocker
It is one of the
actually
most
popped up.
alluring, sensual chocolates to date, of course. So now we know how we can change AD's mind from Distillery 1.
Oh,
Yeah, he just
It's now
needs a
44.
really sensual
Come
croissant
on.
chocolate to kind of pair with Distillery 44, and then we're sorted. Perfect.
If you were watching halfway through me tasting that one, you may even have spotted my O face. But anyway.
Oh dear, oh dear.
That's like moving on.
Right, that's it. We'll be taken off air, won't we? No, that's great.
I'm about to take this bonbon and go get a room. Yeah.
There's some great comments coming through. Hem's even saying I could have that for breakfast every day. It's the Whiskey Lovers
awesome.
Breakfast Dram combo.
Thank you, Hems.
There you go. That is an extraordinary journey. Great to hear. Betty saying that's yummy is high praise from Betty, because I know what Betty's like with her peated whiskies. And for her to say high praise on a non-peated
That's
whiskey.
awesome. Thank you, Betty.
Pairing. And buttery almond croissant goodness, outstanding. And oh my, so far that's the top one. Yeah, and it's a cracking whiskey and it's a cracking pairing, that one. It's just phenomenal. Oh, incredible. So we might if you've got a bit of that whiskey, set it aside, tuck it aside for your final pairing. Unless of course you are Corbin Mondier and can't wait and need to press on with that one, the last one. But that's okay. We're going to keep moving along. The next one that you'll want to pour into your glass in order is the Sousson of Soot, the 16.71, which is a lovely Highland peated whiskey, fully matured for 8 years in a recharred hoggy and at a fairly eye-watering 64.4% ABV. So we're going to have the peated one second last. We're going to finish with the rum, of course, in this case then. But again, the pick for this one was, the idea behind picking this one for this pairing to work with Krsna was that we thought, I love throwing him something peated. And each year we have done a peated whiskey, I think, in the lineup. But usually it's been Islay. Yeah. Usually it's been something from Distillery 53 or 29 or something. And we go, yeah, this is, I thought, how would you go with something in that sort of like, dry white smoke, sootiness, that lovely sort of Highland peat style that you get. I'm just going to throw this comment up on the screen because Andrew already said the O-face comment, so I'm just going to put that one up there. He's seen you play keyboard, mate. It's the same face.
Jesus.
And Hems isn't sure whether ready to get rid of the croissant just yet. It was so nice. Thanks for the bonus. Lee says you could eat 100 of those. I think you might get a little bit ill if you tried 100, but give it a go.
Oh, the vomit would be so worth it.
Are you willing to lose your fingers, Lee, from the diabetes?
Yeah. And surely the kombu chocky goes with this one. Well, let's see how we go with this one. Let's move on to this one, and I'm just going to throw the caption up on the screen so we know which one we're pairing with. This is number 4, and it's the pastel green. Pardon me. That's the pastel greenish one. I'll show that up on screen for those who are a little bit colorblind. It looks like that one. So it's got a sort of a 2 sort of spots on the top. It's 2-ish, 3, well, 2.5.
Mine looks like Mickey Mouse with yellow ears.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah. If you saw the red piece, it's meant to look like a little pig from Angry Birds.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's kind of like what it's
And Justin, who works a bit at the Bellarine Distillery, has tried this whiskey at the Partner Bar the Whisky, which is at Bellarine Distillery. I do encourage you, even outside of those who don't live in Victoria, those who want to visit the Whisky, great partner bar down the Bellarine Peninsula there. Really fantastic place to spend an afternoon.
Awesome.
Would taste good. Oh, actually, anyone toasting McMurray tonight? Jesse, that's very, very fresh news.
Very fresh news.
Yeah. We only heard about that, I think, yesterday or something, and it's the McMurray Distillery, or Code 151 in our books, has hit the wall. But you know what? There's probably still lots of spirit sitting in casks, so all it takes is some keen investors probably, and it'll probably arise from the ashes soon enough.
I was actually really lucky that I got to do a 151.2, I think, with Mark Teague. Whiskey is my jam. Big shout out to him for...
huge shout out to Mark, yep.
Yeah, shout out to Mark. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with his crew in Tasmania a couple of times now, and one of those was with 151.2, and that was a lot of fun actually working on that pairing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and fascinating spirit. We also had 151.4, which was the unpeated, which is, I think it was a 12 or 13-year-old, which was, I think, one of the oldest casks ever released from that distillery, which is very cool to taste how Swedish whiskey does with that amount of age. Great comment from Lachlan. Before we pass it to Krsna, sorry, just to explain this pairing. Highland Peats are so damn good, and I think AD and I and all of us will agree with you. The 66s, the 16s, all the Highland, even some of the peated 39 we've had through, all the others, it's just great.
It's actually the first sensible thing Lachlan said all night.
There it is. Just getting absolutely roasted.
For those watching at home who may not appreciate the banter here, we do know Lachlan well. I'm not being rude.
No, we know Lachlan well.
Most of you haven't seen half the comments that Lachlan's been putting up in the display that I can see here. And
I can actually see it on the far screen in the corner every time, and I'm just seeing, I'm like, yeah.
16s I want to describe as the best parts of a wet dog. Yeah, there's very few of those, but this must be one of them. The best parts.
That's almost the Simpsons reference. Almost.
You know what? Yeah. On a slightly serious note, we, the society, have had loads of peated from 16s, which actually goes by the name Ruard Moor. So the distillery has a certain name.
Big Red.
The Valley of the Turret. But this goes out under the brand name Ruard Moor, and I've found they're okay. You know, they're not amazing, but you know, the peated whiskey's made on the mainland. This one is actually one of the best ones I've ever tried from this distillery. This is really hitting the mark.
Yeah, and also for a younger peated whiskey, because we've had a fair number. I think there's been a fair chunk of past peated iterations in this basic XX SMWS where we've gone with younger peated styles that are quite intense. But this is quite. I think this is probably the one that's probably, I don't know what's the best word to describe this, but like quite harmonious in terms of the balance between peat and sweetness of that kind of, that's quite known for Highland peats. And it's just kind of in the middle. I'm going to introduce a little bit about the chocolate because I'm hoping that it doesn't show through in my shirt up here, and I won't make a too devilish of a comment, especially after what happened with AD in the last one. But that was, I had a moment just then while you guys were having a chat, which is why I was quite silent, and it was an amazing moment. I'm beyond excited to share this bonbon. I mentioned earlier to Matt that this was going to be the chocolate that would break his brain if it wasn't the last two. And that was my goal. So I stand by this. Okay. This is an all-white chocolate expression. There's quite a bit going on here. And this is, again, one of those bonbons for the month that we've pulled absolutely no punches. I introduced to you a lot of, to all of you in past BASIK Chocolates events with SMWS where we've gone down the Japanese route with our Japanese supplier over in Melbourne, which was the Good Grub Hub. Once again, they have been kind enough actually this time and quite generous to have sent me one of those ingredients on the house as I was kind of inquiring about it, as I was trying to think about how to create this bonbon. This is as wild as it gets. The top part of this is this tiny concentrate, and I call it an umami concentrate. It's a real. So there's a lot of smoked style soy sauces out there in the world on market, and a lot of it uses the smoke essence flavoring. It's also quite challenging to smoke soy sauce because of the nature of how it's made, like in the true sense of it. So this has a real oak using Japanese beechwood, native beechwood, and that's BEECH, to actually smoke this soy sauce. This tiny little bag of 500 grams of soy sauce costs close to $60. It is the most, and just to give you a perspective, it took almost an hour to reduce this into the concentrate that I needed it to be. There's a marbled kombu sheet. It literally looks like a Japanese marble, like stone. It's insane. You can have a look at it on the Good Grubhub page. It's full of flavor. I chucked a whole leaf in, thinking that was a gentle amount, and there was quite a bit. And on top of that, I've also added some ume flakes into this, provided from the Good Grubhub as well. It's something that's not on market either. It was something they gave me to test and play around, so I had the chance to concoct something that was crazy. The crazy part in this reduction is how intense and syrupy that is. But the next part is even more crazier. The next part is a shiitake mushroom ganache. So I've rolled dried shiitake mushrooms into white chocolate to create this ganache. And the base of this is a toasted buckwheat praline. So without further ado, take a little sip of your whiskey if you haven't already done so. I see you guys got a little bit impatient and dug in, but that's okay.
No, I just cut it in half.
When you're ready, take half your bite now, please. I won't even bother counting you in. Just go. The first thing you'll get is that massive burst of the soy sauce. It's sweet, it's quick, and then it dies off almost instantly. And just like that, it starts to go into cream mushrooms with a little bit of texture from that sobacha crunching in the background. It almost feels candy-like in nature and creamy, again, and it just starts to change. Now, if you take a bigger sip of your whiskey and finish the rest of your bonbon, this is my favorite part. We go into big soy sauce punch, huge hit of salt, and it just starts to move in and it starts to change. So it goes from really salty to cured meat and cured fish, and it starts to become more intense on that soy sauce. It's like Wagyu coated into a bit of ponzu that's made right in front of you, and then it just starts to change, and now you get a little bit of that shiitake kind of richness and that richness of that umami from the mushrooms, and then all you get at the end is just this savory crunch that's just kind of moving in the background, and that earthiness. Almost all that heat becomes nearly non-existent as well. But if you nose your glass, you'll smell more of that light smoke. It's sweet, it's white smoke, and it's just really gentle. I see Dave has lost his mind.
Bizarro Word Durbridge also commented, Bizarro World, he's here, he's still in the chat.
That was extraordinary.
What have you done?
Halfway through that experience, I was convinced I was eating a Japanese seaweed salad.
Yeah, I can see that. And there's also a lot of that meatiness as well, sort of like around the end. Once you go past the soy sauce hits, it moves to the back, and then you get more of that meatiness, and that kind of the kombu really helps bring that out from the soy sauce as well. But it's a lot of fun.
I love the texture as well. There's those grainy bits that just add to the experience.
Yeah, so the toasted buckwheat, which we've used before in the past for some of yeah. It's just it's just one of the most awesome things to have inside a bonbon. It's just got great texture. It's got awesome stuff. Yeah, see, that's what I'm hoping for. What Jaden's described is essentially kind of like what we were kind of gunning for. Could not eat 100 of them. Yeah, this one you would probably really struggle. It'll be a big punch to have that much soy sauce in your system too.
I think the great tragedy, Matt, is I'm flying solo tonight. My missus is back in the house, and there's 2 of every bonbon here, and I need to work out whether I really need to share the second one with her. But the disappointing thing is, I could really do with two bottles of that. That is a stunning whiskey.
It's funny you say that. Because you can get a second bottle of it. Look at this.
Oh, wow. You mean a really big one?
Fucking hell.
You can get a really big one of these.
That's stunning. I can say without doubt, that's probably the finest cask 16, peated 16 I've ever had.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
And you know what? It's a big hitter at 64.4, but it doesn't really come across that way.
No, it's actually funny you say that, Andrew. I was literally just thinking that. I just tasted it before and went, is that actually 64.4? Because it drinks like it's 58% ABV. Because normally when you get those whiskies, especially peated whiskies that are over 62, they sort of become like, it's like, wow, this is punchy. This is big. Wow. Made a love affair of soy sauce.
That's a great comment.
Suj remembers.
Who else got soy sauce on their white shirt?
In the past? Yeah.
I was wearing a brown waistcoat just for expecting to spill the soy sauce.
I'm glad that there's no soy sauce on my white shirt. I'm good.
Yeah. And Scott, our Queensland State Ambassador, Scott Mansfield, says, "Who's for seconds? We still have some places available for Krsna Live here in Brisbane. Get along, folks. There's a few tickets left, not heaps, but a few. So I guarantee you it's going to be a great night experiencing this live and getting the full experience here.
That is so good.
And Paul says he has to maybe side by side this with 16.46. Good idea. Give it a go. They're very different whiskies. They're all single casks. And this is great. This is unbelievable. Oh, that's I think that's my. I'm going to ask everyone at the end. We'll get the comments going and ask you two as well. What the favorite pairing was. Now, obviously, Krsna, I think you're going to have the most bias on that because you built them. But it's still like it's
not a bias. It's like it's weird, right? So when we first started this journey, I was still pretty early in my journey as well as a chocolatier, right? And I know that you guys have always given me sort of like a lot of encouragement and praise to continue down this path of experiments and stuff like that with our event, and it's kind of really helped with my creativity over the years. One of the things that I've kind of prided myself on, especially in between last year and this year the most, was trying to formulate a more cohesive lineup. So it's a total package in terms of story. Of course, every person's going to have an individual, crescendo and that magnifique piece. But for me, it's like it's almost like mentally I can't compartmentalize to have that because I've curated it in such a way. And where I got this inspiration from early on was actually at whiskey pairing, like at a whiskey event. When you go for a tasting and they do an upwards flight, even though it's something as simple as an upwards flight, there's some way of making sure that you start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've kind of had that same sort of way of kind of looking at things, so to speak, or the way that we've set things up over the last 5 years. And so it's just in the last 2 years, I've just kind of really been, even with BASIK, with our monthly packs, it's the exact same thing. Like our focus at the moment's been, how do we create a total story with a start, a middle, and an end, but that fourth one is like the gambit in the story. It's that ooh wow moment. And yes, we've come to an ooh wow moment, but I don't even know what to expect with this last one. And this is like the experiment of experiments. This could be the one that fails badly, and everyone goes, "Oh shit, okay, he's human after all." So that's
no,
okay.
hold on.
I'm completely comfortable with that.
First of all, we've never had that moment yet. In 5 years, we've never had that moment. No. So the chances of it happening now are extremely slim. And in the rare instance of that ever happening, we could still go, that's a great chocolate, and in this case, a great rum. And we can enjoy them separately.
Well, let's face it, because we've had an interesting rum in the past. Still salty over that rum.
You are still salty over that. I can't believe years later you're still angry about that.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm not angry. I'm upset that I had to inhale melted plastic.
For those who are maybe newer to the society, one of the rums that I sent Krsna years ago, to maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, to play around with, was an R11 that had an extra maturation in an ex-Isla cask. So it was like a peated rum. Oh, we've lost him. Oh, no. He's back. He's back. All right, you're back. I sent him a rum that was from an ex-peated cask, and he sent me a message saying, I can't pair this. And I said, and I wrote back and said, no, I think you can. Give it a go. Come on, here we go. And therefore, you pulled it out of the bag. So let's see how we go with this one. And I love throwing a rum in the lineup. I love throwing like a non-whiskey in the lineup, like an Armagnac or a rum or something, or a cognac, and just go, what do you do with this? Now, Andrew and I will talk about this for a second, but first of all...
But before we do, comment of the night has just been submitted by Hems. You have to put that up on the...
Okay, here we go.
That is brilliant.
I feel like I had a succulent Japanese... rest in peace.
Yes.
No, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgive me.
No.
Can we make those as SMWS t-shirts for 2025?
Yeah.
Or to close out for Christmas?
Yeah, close out Christmas. Exactly.
Yeah, but we just need to make sure that it's your face photoshopped over his with a Christmas hat, like a Santa hat, like an elf hat.
No,
that'll be you. Yeah, and it's you saying it's a succulent Japanese meal instead.
Dave loved his hot shots, by the way, Krsna. So just letting you know, there you go. There's a comment. Dave.
Yes, and I know that Mr. Paul Hamilton Brown and Suj were sitting at the same table in WNA upstairs, and they both said that they enjoyed that. So there you go. And yeah, there you go. Tim Grant is still salty that I asked for his help with tasting that rum. Pretty sure he felt like he lost an eye momentarily.
So, R9.11 Banana Zip Wire. This has not previously been released ever. This is the first appearance of this rum, like many of the whiskies actually tonight, and for the last three we've never seen before. This is, first of all, just to touch on this Panamanian rum, this is quite old. Now, we've seen quite a few R9s through that have been 9, 10, maybe 11 years of age. So to get a 16-year-old rum, we've had old rums before. We've had some old R13s, some old R4s, some old R1s. But just to get an old R9 is unusual. So to see this, and it's...
That's a ripper. Let's not mince words here. That is an absolute ripper.
I must admit, this is, as per the name, an amazing rum with so much going around. That, banana and molasses note is quite sultry. And that sweetness on the nose as well was just, awesome nose, awesome palate as well. While you're all getting excited over this, promise me you won't get too hasty on your bonbon and just take a little sip of the rum and just enjoy that first sip for the moment as I tell you a little bit about the crazy idea that we've had here. This is an ode to Australian culture. One of the things that I learnt when I first moved to Australia many years ago was a you know, everyone goes to Macca's, and one of the things that you have is to have a vanilla, is to dip your hot chips with your vanilla sundae. Right,
it's a Queensland thing, mate.
Okay, now I'm not joking. I was in the car with another member and someone who actively helped get all your orders out this year was Jared Semjurjo, who's my best mate, and he's been part of helping out with BASIK, just like Masahito, who some of you have met last year at live events. And Jared and I were in the car, and Jared knows this. I have a brain that gets awfully distracted very quickly, and I happened to have driven past the Macca's at Indooroopilly in Brisbane, and literally looked down and said, "Hey, you know, it would be really cool to have a bonbon with having, you know, that dip moment of a Macca's ice cream with hot chippies," and so this is that in a bonbon. This was the perfect rum to create that and recreate that moment. And so it is a potato chip couverture. The couverture is made with Brett's potato chips, one of the best potato chips ever. It's also the most expensive potato chips I could possibly find it on the market. It's I think between $7.50 and $10, depending on where you buy it, for 125 grams.
Wow.
Yeah, it took us 6 bags to make this enough couverture for this. So go figure and do the math. This is surprisingly, this ended up being more expensive than the Chateauneuf de Pape to make, which is wild. And then on top of this, we've used a shit ton, and I mean literally a shit ton,
a metric shit ton,
Madagascan vanilla beans. We have toasted these, and this is something you guys have never had before, where we've actually toasted the vanilla beans over fire to really kind of release them. And what that does is it actually starts to form the inner sugars inside the vanilla to kind of create that ganache to becoming a bit more like an ice cream texture. And then the bottom is a crunchy potato chip praline with more of Brett's potato chips crushed up into it. So I'm not going to keep you waiting. I can't wait to do this one. The rum is divine. Take a little sip of rum if you already haven't done so. Let that roll around in your palate, and I'm going to count you in 3, 2, 1. Please bite half that bonbon and watch the fun unfold. The first thing you're going to get is like that moment when that 16-year-old kid hands you slightly unsalted chips in McDonald's. It starts to become a little bit more carby and potatoey as the ice cream moment starts to form in the front of your palate. That light sweetness and almost confectionery, fake-like sweetness is there, and it starts to move towards the back of your palate as now that crunchy element starts to pull through and a little bit of that salt. And now it's prevalent because the manager took up your complaint. Have the next part of your chocolate, please, with your banana zipline, and take a much bigger sip than you possibly could think of as it starts to change and transform. As now you're going into crunch territory with those potato chips going a lot creamier and a lot more potatoey, more savory like, and most of that banana zipline has changed as it has a little bit of that banana and brown sugar lingering around the background, almost like a transformative ice cream, but it now starts to become a little bit more sweeter and soft and mapley towards the end, and then it just kind of mellows out with a little bit of warmth, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sweet, and there you go. I'm loving it. That's my cue for all of you putting McDonald's in your hashtag right now on the screen below. And Matt's going to buy you all at the next W&A tasting Macca's chips and a free sundae on his own pocket and not SMWS's pocket either.
Sure. Deal. That's fantastic. What for me that
AD,
one.
you're having a moment, aren't you?
I'm amazed at how accurate your description of the flavors to expect has transferred onto the palate. I'm literally tasting potato chips dipped in a Macca's vanilla sundae shake thing. Like, wow. Unbelievable.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the most accurate.
I think that's been inaugurated in the past. As we've only done this flavor 3 times in the last 5 years. I think the conception came out about 2 years ago, and never had the opportunity. But it was something that I really wanted to try and do. And I told Matt, I said, "Oh, is there a way that we can create something that works with this?" And coincidentally, this was the one that we got to do, and so for that, thank you, Matt, for giving me an opportunity to have one for myself in terms of creative freedom, and so we got to do that, and so thank you very much, everyone, and I'm glad you guys had your moment. Hopefully, a little bit of nostalgia for a lot of people as well.
Several moments.
So that almost begs the question, next event we do, are you going to recreate the pickle on the ceiling at Macca's? Is that going to be the...
pickle racing? Racing. Macca's
that would
pickle
be cool
racing.
if we actually just, that could work. Let's try it. We can do something with dill pickles, the best pickles you can get. I don't know how good that's going to be, but maybe, pickles and Big Mac sauce.
There you go. You're onto it already.
That kind of,
All right,
then Matt's gonna take on the hospital bill. For the food poisoning.
I'm taking on everything apparently. Yeah, we'll do pickle racing. We'll do live pickle racing, where you throw the pickle at the mirror in the bathroom and see who falls fastest. It's
your Macca's memories are very different from mine, my friend.
In my memories, the bathroom's never had a mirror, so that's a new one. Matt, you asked the question earlier about favourite for tonight, and I think everyone's actually really got to think of 3 answers, because you're going to have your favourite whiskey, you're going to have your favourite bonbon or chocolate, and then you're going to have your favourite pairing where the 2 combine to create something special. And I know personally there's a chocolate that stood out for me as being amazing, but it wasn't the one that created the best match with the whiskey. So if I don't know if you want to take a straw poll and get people to.
Well, I'd love to hear people's comments. Yeah, I'd love to hear people's comments in the chat right now as well.
But I think you've almost got to give 3 answers: favourite whiskey, favourite bonbon, favourite pairing where 1 + 1 = 3. And let's be honest, all of them tonight met that equation. All of them gave us the 1 + 1 = 3. But which one went the furthest? And I have to say that the 16.71 for me was just extraordinary. That just went into another world, as they all did. But this was not even Star Trek could have reached this one. It was beyond the final frontier.
I think my favorite.
Thank you. That's very high praise.
Yeah, I think my favorite chocolate was definitely the one that went with the 44.158. So which was number 3. So the croissant curvature. That was my favorite chocolate. But I think my favorite pairing was actually still number 1, the sugar coated mint leaves. That was just that's my favorite pairing. It's unreal.
Yep. That's awesome. I'm glad that number 1 stayed alive in the hearts of many.
Oh yeah, it was just as a pairing. But my favorite dram tonight was still the was actually
and you got my reference, all right.
No,
I'm just seeing Lockie's latest comment. That's
favorite post. Yeah. Okay, good. But we're gonna also see.
Is it the bottle on the screen to the left instead, or the right? Yeah, the left.
It's the Panamanian rum bottle on the screen right now. That's our favorite host. This is no, but my favorite dram tonight was definitely the rum. That rum is it's actually
I think the rum is sensational
phenomenal
too. Yeah.
Rum. And I enjoy rum. I like rum. I don't regularly reach for it like I do with whiskey, but that rum is just phenomenal. there's so many great comments coming through. Adam, that's I think your first comment. There we go. 16.71 with kombu, but the 44.148 croissant was close behind. Yep. Number 4 is my winner. Lots of people enjoying number 4. Yeah.
To be fair, there are no losers in this.
No, there's not. I mean, they're all amazing pairings.
Yeah, absolutely.
David Gilks, there we go. Thanks, Corbin. Yes, good. Slideshow's your favorite host. Yes. It's not the years and years of experience between the 3 people on the screen. It's the 5 minutes that it took to put the slideshow together. That's the one that really wins tonight, isn't it?
Mate, haven't you just summed up Instagram marketing?
Oh no! Don't start! Don't start! No! I mean, yes, but no! Don't start. Jaden says favorite whiskey 44, favorite chocolate croissant, and favorite pairings marmalade overdrive.
Yeah.
That was a strong contender. I think. Ooh,
that's a pretty good call.
We may have lost Krsna again. I think one of my favorite things about that pairing, we can hear Krsna, can't see him. Was the fact that
cool. We're just checking something.
Okay, you check all you like.
Turn the lights on though.
Yeah, works better with the lights on. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Krsna's comment about how just because it's a blend doesn't mean it lacks complexity or interest. It's just a fantastic whiskey. But yeah, so many good things tonight. So many good things. Whilst we're waiting for Krsna to jump back in to bid us farewell and maybe just talk about that last pairing.
On my phone.
Should I turn you down whilst you're whispering, Krsna? It's fine.
No, that's fine.
We got you.
We had a bit of a phone problem by the looks of it for our video. Just give us a moment.
Don't put every lock and comment on screen, otherwise.
No, don't.
No. Favorite chocolate, potato chippy. Yep. Potato chip chocolate was amazing. Yeah.
It's funny, like if someone said to you, "Oh, what would potato chips and vanilla shake or vanilla ice cream taste like?" It would never occur to you to hold up a little yellow thing like that.
No.
Like, the fact that those flavors went into that tiny little package and then delivered them is just extraordinary.
Oh, Suj, you're going to kill me, mate. No, it can't be quarterly. I'm sorry. There's so much effort and time and research and stuff that goes into this. This would become we'd need a full timer looking after this. I
think it's one of those things where the reason this is every 12 months is because you need 6 months to recover from the last one and 6 months to prepare for the next.
Yeah, it's a bit of time required. Whilst we're waiting for Krsna, I just thought I'd just touch on next month whilst we're here, just to talk about it real quickly. September is the next outturn, and as you know, Andrew and I like to show what the following outturn, the sneak peek of the following outturn is coming through. And September, like every September, is about the gathering. It's about the global gathering coming together and amazing events, our gathering casks. And we're going to pull some tricks out of the hat this year with some goodies and some other things still to be announced in September outturn. We won't reveal all just now. But I always like to show the cover. The first sneak peek of the cover. So Australia, let's gather. This is a really niche reference, but Andrew Moat's going to be upset again that yet another photo of Alex Moore's being used somewhere, which is, of course, just to rub it in. And he was wearing his actual SMWS Vaults vest in that photo. So there he is in his
You know what? I tried my Society Vaults waistcoat on just the other day, and I've been doing too much bench pressing. It doesn't fit me anymore.
Oh, right.
I'm sure it's the bench press.
It must be the bench press. Yeah. And then, but the global gathering is coming, which means we have a global gathering cask. We have an Australian exclusive cask for the gathering coming through. Where does your whiskey take you? It takes you to 59.86. The gathering cask, 13 years of age, spicy and sweet flavour profile. And greetings from Leith, as it says. This will be greetings from Australia in our case. We'll be bringing this cask to all across Australia. Oh, he's back.
Sorry.
Here we go. So we'll talk more about that whiskey another time. But I just want to say thank you so much, Krsna. This has been such a delight having you on and being our 5th year of collaborating with BASIK. We love working with you at SMWS. We love what you create.
No, sorry, you've lost me again, but I'm here in spirit. I promise.
We can hear you. But and I know Andrew will be the same as me on saying this, that it's just such a delight working with you, and just seeing how far your flavor pairings have evolved, and keep improving and keep changing, and just create these amazing moments of, as Andrew said, 1 + 1 = 3 moments where the pairings are just phenomenal. And
well, I'd even go so, and courtesy of Franz Schurer, the term of 1 + 1 = 3 has been in the society's lexicon for a long time. I'd go so far as to say tonight we hit 1 + 1 = 4. It was extraordinary.
It was, maybe even equals 4.
You're like the modern day mathematician, like Mr. Terence Howard. Do you get the reference? No one.
I don't. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's all right. I'll see if someone else figures it out.
Big thanks to Willy Wonka. Yep.
No, what I was going to say was a massive, massive, massive thank you to everyone. Of course, I have to say a lot of my thanks comes to the two of you for giving me that chance all those years ago in terms of opportunity. I remember reading that the little write-up that was written in this year's Outturn with regards to reminiscing the first time that we started. I remember giving you both a bit of cold feet when I explained my pairings and and changing lineups around and shifting things around. But I'm glad that we got a chance to work together and do something really fun. And it's been quite epic. And an awesome opportunity for us to continue working together, and I hope there's many more years to come. As for everyone that's participating as well, I can't thank all of you enough for your support over these number of years. There are a lot of regulars on there. Hems is one of those individuals who's been amazing and very supportive of the business, along with Justin and Lachlan, Dov. There's the many names that I can spurt out over the years that have been part of the BASIK family since the first journey of SMWS and BASIK. So to all of you, I can't thank you guys all enough. We, as most of you might know, we do a lot of pairing related avenues, and I did mention to Matt, I know it's similar to what Suj was asking about, but there's something that I'm trying to work on, which is to figure out if there's a way that I can come up with a malt, whatever that might be, a malt of the month, and we could come up with sort of like a chocolate that might be on the BASIK Chocolates page that people can get access to, that's just solely for the SMWS members to experiment and have some fun with. So TBA, I'm working on it, and hopefully there'll be a chance for us to continue to hero Scotch Malt Whisky Society as well over the months to come before Christmas.
Indeed.
And yeah, thank you.
Are we having a quick chat about this last the bonus pairing, the chestnut and coffee?
Yeah,
caramel?
of course. So I came up with a little alternative. It's like a thank you chocolate. So it's similar in terms of profile to our croissant couverture, but without the croissant element itself. So instead of pastry, we're leaning on that kind of Moorishness of the chestnuts itself. We're leaning a little bit more into the bitterness of an espresso. If it was just kind of like, and that acidity that's from just coffee itself, and just kind of working on that as part of like the malternative. A different perspective, because it kind of is not going to draw too much on the sort of back palate. Krishna's chocolate blocks. Yeah. We haven't actually done any more chocolate blocks because we keep running out of space in our chocolate fridge to store things. So we've kind of gone triple down on the bonbon route at the moment. So I've had an awesome growth in our business, and so we it made it quite difficult to actually set up the tablet bars again. But I'm glad that you enjoyed them, Lachlan. Thank you.
this has been so fantastic. Thank you all who tuned in, who got a pack. Just a quick mention as well that we have arranged for some extra packs of this virtual, which will be available on the website as well, because we had some, the demand has been such that we were able to create some more, because we had a lot of messages from members saying, I missed out on this virtual. If you missed out, just check out smws.com.au/shop. We've added some extra packs. They are available for members only, of course. If you wish to treat yourself to another one, or maybe gift one to someone coming up, it's a great opportunity to get both, and we'll send that out to you. Really appreciate everyone. Just hire more Oompa Loompas, mate. Yeah, there you go. That's actually a good comment. But yeah, thank you, everyone.
Sorry, I'm back. There we go.
Oh no, you're back. You're in 240p, but you're back.
Yeah, I know. And, that's right. It's okay. Hey, I was also going to say that if it helps anyone who is looking for some extra chocolates as well, our August packs are exactly the same as our SMWS packs, because our SMWS order is not a small order; it's quite a large order. So to make things easier on me physically in terms of production, because these weeks get quite grueling, we've got the same packs as our August packs. The only thing that's not present in there is the bonus chocolate as like a thank you, because that's widely available for anyone on BASIK. So even if anyone needs more chocolates on top of the extra bonus packs that are available on the SMWS page, you can jump onto our website on basicchocolates.com.au and grab some. I think there's a very, very limited bunch left, so as well.
And there's one less than whatever that number was.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
2 less, mate. 2 less. All right.
Mate, thank you. Just love your work as always. I don't know if people quite appreciate the effort that goes into it, not just the physical hard labor, but just the brain power, thinking about making the match, what's going to work, experimenting, as you say, choosing a lane to go in and going down that lane, and more to the point, delivering it. I mean, you can have a stab in the dark and go, oh, this is a great chocolate, this is a great whiskey, but to do what you do and do it to the point where every post is a winner, and the experience is just the most incredible culinary piece of joy, mate, I take my hat off to you, and well done, as always.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And very high praise coming from yourself, who's been in the industry for a long time. And yeah, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you.
Night. It's fine. It happens. It's all right. Thank you, Matt.